Nationalist movement. The revolt of 1857 was a turning point in the history of India. It brought India under the rule of the British Crown. The years following the revolt saw increased political awareness, stronger public opinion, and heightened political activity. This period led to the growth of a nationalist consciousness among the people. They started developing a feeling of belonging to the nation, sharing a culture, history, and common goals for the future. A retired civil servant, Alan Octavian Hume, played a significant role in the formation of the Indian National Congress, which was established in 1885. He intended it to be a safety valve which would release some of the growing discontent of the Indians against British rule. The first session of the INC was held in Bombay in 1885. W.C. Banerjee was elected the first president of the INC. The partition of Bengal 1905 was ordered by Lord Curzon. While the British claimed that it was done to improve administrative efficiency, the real reason for this move was to crush the nationalist movement in Bengal. The decision to partition Bengal provoked widespread agitation among people, and the Swadeshi and boycott movements were launched. As the British continued with their divide-and-rule policy, in 1906, the All India Muslim League was formed by Aga Khan, the Nawab of Dhaka, and Nawab Mohsin-ul-Mulk. After the Surat split between the moderates and the radicals in the INC, the British realized the need to please the moderates and sideline the radicals. Hence, a series of reforms were proposed in 1909 called the Morley-Minto Reforms, named after John Morley, the Secretary of State, and Lord Minto, the Viceroy. However, the moderates realized that the reforms did not give adequate representation to Indians in the legislature. The First World War had an impact on the Indian nationalist movement. The British, part of the Allied forces, claimed to be fighting for democracy and self-government. This made Indians hopeful of being given self-government too. In 1916, the INC and the Muslim League held their sessions separately at Lucknow. The INC and the Muslim League adopted a joint scheme of political reforms called the Lucknow Pact. The Home Rule movement was developed by Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Annie Besant in 1916. Its aim was to achieve self-government. In 1919, the government tried to introduce more reforms under the Government of India Act. However, the reforms failed to meet the expectations of Indians. The man who shaped the course and character of the nationalist movement was Mahatma Gandhi. Before Gandhi, the national movement had been dominated by the middle class, the intelligentsia, and the educated elite. Gandhi transformed it into a national movement in which millions of people, including women, the untouchables, the tribals, and several other classes and sections of society participated. He developed the cornerstones of his philosophy, Satyagraha and Ahimsa. Satyagraha literally means the force of truth. The aim of Satyagraha was to appeal to the conscience of the oppressor, which would make the oppressor realize that his actions were wrong. Satyagraha was linked with Ahimsa, or non-violence. When the Khilafat movement began in India, Gandhiji supported it because he saw it as an opportunity to forge Hindu-Muslim unity. Soon after, he gave the call for a non-cooperation movement against the British. Gandhi explained that the British were able to rule over India because Indians cooperated with the British. It would therefore collapse if Indians refused to cooperate with the government. Gandhiji and the Ali brothers toured the country giving stirring speeches. Shops selling foreign goods were picketed. Khadi was spun to signify self-reliance and boycott of foreign cloth. When the Prince of Wales visited India in 1921, he was greeted by empty streets and downed shutters. However, the movement had to be called off after the Chauri Chauda incident in 1922, where an angry mob clashed with police, leading to the deaths of 22 policemen. During the Lahore session of the Congress in 1929, a resolution for a nationwide civil disobedience movement was passed. Its goal was the achievement of complete independence. Mahatma Gandhi chose to start the civil disobedience movement by breaking the Salt Law. On 12th March 1930, Gandhiji, along with 78 followers, began a march from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, a small village on the coast of Gujarat. After travelling 350 kilometers on foot, he reached the seashore on 6th April 1930 and broke the salt law by picking up a handful of salt from the seashore. This sparked off acts of civil disobedience across the country. In 1927, the British government appointed the Simon Commission to outline further administrative reforms for India. Both the Congress and the League boycotted the commission as it did not have a single Indian member on it. When the commission came to India, it was greeted with slogans of "Simon go back" and black flags. In 1940, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the president of the Muslim League, demanded the division of the nation into two sovereign states. This came to be known as the two-nation theory. The League decided to demand a separate nation for Muslims called Pakistan. The Cripps mission under Sir Stafford Cripps was sent in March 1942 to discuss certain issues with Indian leaders. However, the recommendations of the Cripps mission were rejected by the Congress and the Muslim League, as they did not include the transfer of power to the Indians. In August 1942, the Congress adopted the Quit India Resolution to compel the British to leave the country. Mahatma Gandhi coined the "Do or Die" slogan for this movement. After the Second World War ended in 1945, British Prime Minister Clement Attlee declared that Britain would quit India by June 1948. A cabinet mission visited India in 1946 to make recommendations for constitutional reforms. When Lord Mountbatten was appointed the last Viceroy of India in 1947, he set 1948 as the final date for the transfer of power. Due to the large-scale communal violence that occurred as a result of direct action, it was decided that India would be partitioned to form the new nation of Pakistan. The Congress leaders reluctantly accepted the partition in order to avoid further communal riots, which would cause large-scale devastation. The Indian Independence Act of 1947 laid down the guidelines for the transfer of power and the partition of India. The act made India and Pakistan two independent dominions. India gained independence on 15th August 1947 after decades of struggle and the sacrifices of millions of people. The princely states were allowed to join either India or Pakistan or continue as independent kingdoms.